Hi everybody, it's me. So I haven't played this game in well over 4 months. However, I am able to continue where we left off because I just finished doing all the audio for all the footage up to this point in the Let's Play. So I'm just going to continue from where we were, and then we will be able to I'm gonna go through these prompts now, and then we'll be able to pick up from where we were. Okay? Okay. Here there's gonna be a show in the morning. So there is. I'll have to put on some more coffee. I was already at the computer, I know that. Is there anything over here? There was somebody else over there, though. Can I talk to these people? No, they're just fine. Okay. So there's a dude over here. We have our biker, Junebug and Johnny, I think, and Carrington? Who's Carrington? Ah, so glad you stopped by. I've been standing here alone, waiting for my casting crew. I'm afraid very little can be done in their absence. I've just been watching the highway with its occasional limping truck, the trees oscillating in the night breeze, the shadows, and visualizing the performance against this nocturnal backdrop. Well, I suppose it is the business of cast and crew to be late, just as it is the business of a director to visualize. It's all becoming very clear to me. This venue will be perfect. A triumph. I wonder, do you ever feel as though you've arrived after... Man, I'm really pushing the late thing this episode, or act. I've been running late all day. Exactly. Standing at the end of history, too late for masterpieces, too late for an Orestia, for a Faustus, for an Iceman. What's your most treasured stage production, my friend? I don't think I ever saw one. Ah, then let this be your first. I can't promise it will be an ideal introduction to the form. It is, as I say, an experimental production, conceived in response to the full history of the stage. So that said, I have my vision for the transformation of this venue, but it's all still unsettled in potential while we wait for the casting crew to arrive. So tell me, what do you think? Where should the actors perform? Where should the audience sit? Why not just put them both together? Interesting. To collapse the audience-performer hierarchy, at least spatially, yes. I think you're right. How bold. You've given me a great deal to think about, friends, and it seems I'll have some time yet to consider it all. Well, surely the cast and crew will arrive within the hour, and will be constructing the set and arranging the lights. I hope you can come by again to see me before the show, but understand you have your own tasks to carry out. Just remember, death of the hired man. Equus Oils. Dawn. What is on? I think he's carrying like a mannequin. Or is that his camera? I don't know. I think we went all the way around. Drive-in theater. Ooh. That's cool. It almost seemed like that director's cast and crew didn't even exist. He just thought that they were going to come. That, you know, he just figured everybody would show up because he wants to make something. I wonder what's showing. I went to a drive-in once, just once, a long time ago. I don't even remember what movie was playing, to be honest. This must be near the end, you think? Sure, you can tell they're all in crisis. You don't think it's a happy ending? Sure, most of them are, but first everyone gets in a crisis, and then it makes it more satisfying. Excellent observation, ma'am. I manage. Do you think they'll start it after the ending? Yeah, they do that sometimes. Good, I want to know how it starts. Maybe we can ask those folks in the pickup. They look like they're sleeping. Do all these people know each other? No, they just met. The dark-haired lady doesn't trust anyone. She's troubled. Oh, okay. How come nobody talks? It's silent. Before your time. Do they just play all movies here? I don't know much about movies. No, that's funny. You seem like the type. Sitting in a theater watching some old cowboy movie. Big old bag of popcorn. For what it's worth, I don't know much about movies either. I like TV. You know the difference between film and TV? A film is projected light that gets bounced off a screen. You see the reflection. With the TV, you look straight at the light. Damn it, did you see that? I'm not sure you should be watching this, kid. I'm not watching. Think he's okay? Oh, sure, he can come back from that. Big guy like him. We should get back on the road. Let's just watch. See how it ends. So, what are you hauling back there? Anything good? You been driving long? All my life. I heard that. We're lifters too. Life on the road. What are they doing? They're burying him. Time to get going? Might as well finish the film. Seems like a lot of trouble to make a delivery. You couldn't have referred them to someone local? I said needed the business. Sure, who doesn't, right? Whoa, that's it? Yeah, it just kind of trailed off. It was really weird the way that big guy just sat down on the road like that. What do you think it means? He gave up. It's kind of sad. Well, let's get back on the road, huh? Yep, back on the road. Clockworks. A faux rustic wooden sign hangs by chain above the door. Glasgow clockworks, carved in a fanciful typeface, then set with what looks like brass or colored plastique. The windows are darkened, too crowded with antique clocks to make out the interior. Small metal sign bolted in the building's alley reads GTS stop number 5, 5:30, 7:15, 8:45, 10:15, and 12:15. And then several more numbers or words, worn illegible by rain. Three people stand under the sign. A young man with a newspaper, a young woman scribbling anxiously in a leather-bound journal, and an older woman whose face is shadowed by a wide-brimmed hat. It is snowing like crazy outside. Examine the sign. It's possible to tell how late the bus runs. Are these people just waiting? Could they have missed the late bus? Conway offers a ride to the woman in the hat, and she grumbles to herself as she climbs in the truck. Her name is Linda. She lives near the artificial limb factory, but can't be bothered for specifics. I wonder if I could take her there. Pretty sure I remember where that is too. It's up 65 on the right. Creek. Conway leaves the truck to stretch his legs by the creek. He follows the edge of the road, then wanders a bit into the woods where the creek and the road part. Creek bed is nearly dry this time of year, but a few thin channels still run through the rocks. He can barely make out the moonlit silhouette of an overturned boat. He can barely make out the moonlit silhouette of an overturned boat a few dozen yards down the creek. He reaches habitually into his jacket pocket, then remembers he doesn't carry a flask anymore. Let's head up this way. I think I already did. No, I didn't. Then we could visit the Marquez farmhouse. Could. Yeah, let's try it. Farmhouse is silent and empty. The barn is still going. So is the cave. A few horses graze in the empty field. Oh, okay. No going back there, I guess. They really want to go here. I'm pretty sure that's the lower depths. Tavern, yep. Petting zoo. Oh, at night. That's weird, but awesome. At least they show me the way. There's the mine. Oh, okay, I can't visit it again. There's the artificial limb factory. Linda's home. Linda doesn't care for the public transportation in this area. The buses are too small. In fact, they hardly qualify. She worked for 25 years as a city planner in Knoxville, so she knows, but it's not her place to say, really. If she were asked, though, if anyone were to ask, she'd start with the public transportation. It's the pride of a civil society. It's a place as much of a city. It's a place as much as any city center. It ought to be funded as such. Sure, you could spend thousands on some concrete fountain, some scene of antiquity, something really impressive, but what does that do for a polis? Who meets at a fountain to exchange ideas? Drug dealers, that's who. And maniacs. Linda meets people on the bus or at the bus stop. That's where things get done. In Mexico City or Montreal, New York, trains that are so fluid in their dependability that they're practically a stable place themselves. They're at least a reliable place as... Linda lives here with her daughter and son-in-law in that squat, gray building on the left. She owns the house, but her room is in the basement. The basement of her own house. Life is suffering, as they say. I always learn a lot from the elderly. Petting zoo is closed. Oh. For a ride to the man. He accepts gratefully. His name is Keith. He lives a ways west, not far from the Museum of Dwellings, just south across 65. Museum of Dwellings. Picnic. Blanket is spread in the grass just off the road. It would make a reasonable spot for a picnic, sheltered in the daytime by a coffee tree. Shannon walks over to the picnic spread. 5 places are set. One plate is filled with ham, another with apples. Shannon pulls at an apple with a stick. They're waxy. No. The apples are wax. Wax apples for display? Maybe toys? Someone must have been here playing at a picnic. The supplies are weathered. Hard to tell how long ago that happened. The truck pulls into the bait shop parking lot. The bait shop is closed. Conway and Shannon walk around to the side of the building, and Shannon fumbles with her key for a bit and then looks down at her feet. The locks have been changed. She writes a short but stern note about tenants' rights and pins it to the door. A few cows drink from a small pond by the intersection. There's no fence in sight, as it suggests they may be wild cows, but the possibility is dismissed. He runs down to the edge of the pond to a pile of small rocks and throws one in. Conway walks to the pile of stones, and he sifts through the pile until he finds 2 flat, smooth stones. Ezra watches with interest as Conway skips the stones across the pond. Ezra pays careful attention to Conway's wrist. It's stiff for the arc of the throw, and then snaps forward almost accidentally, like an umbrella breaking in the wind. Good spin on it. Hiccup. But there's something disquieting about that snap and the sound it should make. Ezra takes a rock from the pile. He turns himself perpendicular to the edge of the pond, leans down, snaps his wrist, and grunts distastefully as he throws his shoulder forward. 3 skips. Not bad. There he is. Keith is an auto-acclaimed adjuster now. He went to the University of Indianapolis mathematics with a minor in sports marketing. Halfway through his junior year in college, Keith's boyfriend ran away with an older woman. His grades fell off. He stopped shaving. His friends were concerned. He suggested he stopped shaving. His friends were concerned and suggested he take a semester off to refocus himself. He sold his car, spent 3 months traveling the country by Greyhound bus. Keith found himself in Butte, Montana. In the dead of winter, his rough beard stained with gas station coffee, his eyes clouded with travel. He bought a second coat at a thrift store, then settled onto a stool in a tavern by the cemetery. He sipped a light beer and lost himself in a photo on the wall, a portrait of Evel Knievel. Knievel looked tired, more than tired, spent, drained, old. But Keith could always have sworn those murky, bloodshot eyes were looking right into his soul, as if to tell him, Keith's apartment is here, on the left. A salmon-colored building, that's his apartment, with a blue and white star decals stuck in the window. The young woman accepts cautiously. Her name is Patty. She lives near the state park, a short drive west of the Marquez farmhouse. Right on the lake or something nice. Yep. Patty has an idea for a new kind of chair. Not really the whole chair, just the part of the chair that lets you adjust the height and the tilt. It could be adapted to fit almost any chair design, and it doesn't take up much space. It could be flat-packed even. It's not really a much more reliable design in the long run. And always using the current crop of seat adjustment mechanisms, you're always running the risk of pinching your fingers fumbling around down under your chair. Not so with Patty's new design. But it's not cheap to get a prototype fabricated for such a thing. Too many moving parts, that much is unavoidable. Patty's been doing some freelance technical writing to pay the bills, and setting aside as much as she can towards the project. She calls it the project when talking to friends and family, and by now everyone knows what she means. In school, she was easily distracted. Her teachers never thought she'd really command her full potential, and so on, and so on. But it won't be long now. Patty's staying here, in that ugly amber bungalow. Again, it's only temporary. Act 3, Scene 4. The Lower Depths. Doesn't feel right. Like a deep pit. I wonder sometimes if I'm really up here or still down below. Kind of late. You sure they're open? Sure they're open. This is one of those places. Came by earlier and they were closed. Oh, you know it? Pretty rough, huh? We never went inside. It's not that bad. Give me a minute here. We're not saints, but we've kept our appointment. How many people can boast as much? That's lovely, ma'am. Who said it? A poet. Poet. Same thing as last time. Shoes. Clothes. I like this setup. Ma'am, I hate to say it, but the cupboard is bare. Have some vision, Cricket. We've got 1, 2, 4 patrons. Harry doesn't count. Well, we've done more with less. What kind of music do you play? It's like Serrano Cole meets Ike Towner, but with a woman lead. And the keyboards are kind of ambient whisper wave. A little bit more reverb. Some Dolly Crown in there, too. Like the early stuff before she joined the Sheet Swingers. Better drum programming, though. I don't know who those people are. Well, you'll hear it in a minute. Sandwich. Sandwich. A rough brick between two pieces of a stale bread. Blech. A rough brick between two pieces of stale bread sits in the center of the table, surrounded by a arena of undisturbed dust. That's gotta be sitting there pretty long to have an arena dust around a sandwich. A bulky set of black goggles sit on the edge of the table, next to an ashtray, a newspaper, and a few empty glasses. Huh. Who do you think that belongs to? Whoever they are, they're gone now. Must have been pretty tink to leave it behind. This thing looks expensive. Urza. Or Ezra. Ezra flips eagerly through the jukebox's catalog of songs. What do you think? I don't know how to play this game. All I'm pouring tonight is Hard Times whiskey. Got any coffee going? No coffee. Hard Times whiskey. Say, shut the GD door, would you? I can't afford to run the AC all night. Sorry, Harry. Oh, it's you two. Where have you been? Never mind. Listen, I can keep this place open through the small hours of the night just waiting for musicians. Listen, I can't keep this place open through the small hours of the night just waiting for musicians. Gets lonely, doesn't it? Yeah, kinda. How about some music? There's nobody here to listen to it. I can't pay for it. We brought some people, Harry. Crowd is forming. Yeah, but also Couldn't you use a break, Harry? Been on my feet all day. But Sky is blacking out. There we go. How's it looking out there? How are y'all feeling tonight? Can we get a bit more reverb in the monitors? Harry adjusts the soundboard setting behind the bar. How's that? Test 1 1 1 350. Lamentation. Sounds good. How's everybody doing? Anybody had a real bad night? How about you, old man? Yeah, real bad. I'll try not to make it too much worse. This is a song I heard in a tavern many years ago at an open mic night. Me and Johnny were out just riding around, you know. Just like to drive around, old man. That's where I feel at home. Of course you do. So we were riding around and we passed this old gaudy tavern. I mean, it was a real dive. Busted up facade, weeds in the parking lot, taps all dry, bats in the bar room, and run by this creaky bag of bones. Looked like the only thing keeping him awake was the fear of death. So glad to be back here at the lower depths. Hey now. So we stopped for an early drink, and there was the lady singing right here on stage. And the song she's singing, well, it stuck with us, and now it's a regular part of our repertoire. Never got that lady's name, but she seemed like a sweet gal. And she had a voice like Scotch whiskey. And we just hope we do her song justice. So here it is. Too Late to Love You. Are there going to be actual vocals? Stage is turning. When you left me, I never should have met you. I wish we'd met before. Oh! When you left me. When you left me. Oh! Wow. stage kind of sways like that. Female voice was a little bit, felt stretched, a little bit operatic, or opera-like, which didn't seem to mesh too well. I like the male vocal, but I'll take the bluegrass number once it shows up in this act. I love it. I'm sure I will. I've loved the past two, so... And that was neat. It was cool. Well, hope you liked it. Kind of sad, isn't it? Kind of. Listen, we appreciate you folks sticking around for the show. There's nothing more wretched than playing sad songs to an empty room. We just gotta get our fee from Harry, and then we'll get you headed to, the Zero. Well, Harry, I think that went pretty well. I'd say the crowd was into it. Reverential. Wrapped. I guess the usual fee's about right, and we'll let you get back to your business. Oh, that's just the... Damn it, I was trying to tell you to. I can't pay. They cleaned me out. I've got nothing left but a GD IOU from the distillery. An IOU. Yeah, I traded them for some whiskey, and I guess I had some surplus credit, so I got this note to get some more from them later on. Must have been a hell of a trade. I had to. Gotta keep this place open somehow. Damn it. Watch your language, Harry. Could you pay them with your IOU? Well, very contemporary. Very astute. How about it, Harry? Let's put some paper around. Well, it's just... I can collect on it here when they bring more whiskey up, but for you to cash in, you'd have to go down to... to the distillery. Down to hard times, and... it's... Gotta take the zero. So that's what we'll do. How do we get there? You said you knew how to get there. No, I don't believe that's exactly what I said. It is exactly what you said. Are you folks sure you want to head down there? I've never been myself, but I hear... People hear things. Rumors. Do you know another way to Dogwood Drive? Dogwood? Got a letter, did you? I've got a stack of them. Huh? Well, okay. Sounds like the zero's your only course now. Harry, you're alright. If only. You got a radio in your car? Yep. Well, here's what you've got to do. Take a left out of the parking lot, and then just fiddle around on your dial until you hear something familiar, but... familiar, but strange. You know the feeling like... I used to go hunt with my uncle out in the mountains, and now I watch these nature programs. They're filmed in the mountains, and there's the deer, and I know all the plants and every kind of tree, but something just doesn't look right. And it's even stranger from being so close to familiar. Something like that. You'll know when you hear it. Fix that strange but familiar station on your dial, drive for a bit, and then turn around when the station cuts out. I mean right then. Hope you folks find what you're looking for. Eventually. Always a pleasure, Harry. Is it? Alright. Back to the zero. So I gotta get to a familiar tune. Jeez, I don't remember. 0. Strange familiar, drive for a while, turn around when the station cuts. Okay. Well, I gotta find the strange and familiar sound first. Maybe? I don't know. That's it. What's this station? I've never heard of it before. Sounds like horses? Horses running? A race? My son and Ira had some horses years back. Yeah, I've always been a little afraid of them. They're so big and... I don't know, you look in their eyes and they're almost human. Like they're human and animal at the same time, since they've been domesticated so long, I guess. Well, that fits familiar but strange for me. Harry says we can just drive till it cuts out, right? Doesn't sound like horses racing. Sounds like horses eating. Huh. 0? Huh. Of course. It's representations of things in the real world. Fast ways to bypass them. And the frequencies are different here. Let's go. Good to be back. Whoa. Act 3, Scene 5. Hall of the Mountain King. I don't remember hearing about the Mountain King. The bridge ends abruptly, crumbling in despair. Huh. Time to cut 'em loose, ma'am? Well, I'm having fun. Cut what loose? You bored? Nah, it's a slow night anyway. I'm happy just tagging along. What do you suppose happened here? Some kind of storm washed it away? Haven't seen much weather down here, though. Loop of decayed rope is coiled on the banister. Some rotted sections have been smoothed over with a find something. I didn't read it. Yeah, it looks like they were making a highway under the ground. Computers? Broken computer monitors are heaped precariously among the rocks. A pet carrier from a cat or small dog has been left by the path. Calficide rag wadded in a corner may have once been a blanket. Fire. There's somebody up there. A hiking backpack leans against a rock. It's empty except for a dusty bag of cat food and a few punch cards. Punch cards? Why would you keep those? Oh, there's 2 people. Pile of discarded electronics burns steadily in the center of the chamber. Ooh, yeah. Love stuff like that. Is there anything over here first? It looks like somebody. Oh, that's Johnny. I think it's Johnny who does the mechanical walking. No, that's Junebug for sure. With her hairstyle. It's over here. And the computer. And more people. It's almost like a colony. Baffling controls panels are sheltered from the elements with worn tape. A closet-sized wall of knobs and wires looms behind the machine, humming faintly. An electric typewriter is the only easily recognizable component. Roberta. And a gate. The kingdom is in peril. Roberta laughs. Well, what else is new? Do you work here? Work? You could call it that. I gather old circuit boards and throw them in a fire. Sometimes I fish out precarious metals and let them cool into toxic gems. I put them in my hair. Enchanted jewelry, talismans, a magic mirror that prevents the future, a magic shield that protects the bearer from age, a magic chest that a magic chest that's always filled with... I never went to the university. I was an independent scholar. Means I took to the public libraries like a beachcomber. I studied fairy tales. And then I came to work for Donald, paid the bills, rubbed leathering elbows with academics, scraped back mold from cave walls. Finally, now I can carry the firewood into sustenance. Sustenance? Senescence, yeah. The kingdom is in peril. Do you know that when I first... No, I mean, if this cave were larger, could it... Now I'm getting ahead of myself. I've got it. How would you characterize this space? The one we're standing in now. It seems endless. You have no idea how right you are. Decades of mapping and notating. But how can you tell? What formal quality makes it seem endless, you know? The shadows seem to stretch forever. Sure, but they're not just shadows, right? I mean, they could be... They're projections, or maybe they're anatomies. How's that? Can you tell where we are now? Ugh. Surrounded by creeping anatomies? Close your eyes. Will you close your eyes? Only if you close yours. Okay. I can do it from memory. Good. Now, you are standing at the top of a rocky peak. A ton of flame licks the shadowy anatomies of... Where are we? Oh, here again. How disappointing. What are all these computers for? Computers? Oh, now I remember. I was writing on them. I described a cave. That was my job. Describe the cave. There's a great history of caves in the literature. Don't you know? The walls are frozen rivers of orange stone. Isn't that vivid? I had a lot to live up to. I was a grad student studying statistics when I started working with Donald on his project. He said we needed someone with a more analytical mind to do the descriptive writing. Someone who would appreciate the cave descriptions as real labor, instead of taking their authorial voice for granted. Donald warned me it would be long hours of typing painstakingly detailed descriptions into the computer. And I've put in the hours, believe me, I've put in the hours. I've described every facet of this cave in such detail that sometimes I don't know if I'm reading or looking, writing or exploring. Often in the dark and lonely moments I worry that in my sleep I've transcribed rooms from my dreams into the system. You probably have. How do we know? They can only be entered with precise, faithful detail. That's all I know how to write, and all I dream about is caves. I only dream of caves. So this must be the man who's hired people. I'll talk to Amy first, but... Oh, it's triangles within triangles down here. Shifting, intersecting, overlaying. Isn't it romantic? Let's see. You're here to steal back the love of a boy you once knew when you were too young to recognize the movements of the heart. And you're escorting her, pretending to have her interests at heart, while really you're in love with the young woman as well. And so you've agreed to help him conspire to win her affections. But it's just a ploy to set him up for the embarrassment and diminish him out of the picture. What are you talking about? No, you're right, it's insipid, derivative. I used to be really good at this. I had 11 novels published, from billionaires bidding to the fields of lawning. Real hot, bodice-ripping stuff, you know? I miss those days, in my Lexington studio apartment, just me and my thesaurus, steaming up the windows. I'm not sure you should be listening to this, kid. I'm not listening. But of course it wouldn't last. You know, suddenly it was all computers everywhere you went. I thought I might be able to do something with that. Inject a little libido into those ugly beige boxes. Ha! So I went back to the university and I studied human-computer interaction. And then I picked up Donald's research assistantship here as his tester, debugging. In my off hours, I played around with a doomed love story at the core of our little simulation. That seemed to amuse Donald, so I kept at it. I'm afraid I've tinkered too much, made it too complex. Now our work is never done. We don't even have to add any new functionality. The bugs just grow on their own. Too complex. I miss those days in my Lexington studio apartment.